49ers Ultimate Report. This is John J., your 49ers reporter, opinionist, analyst, and die-hard fan. Welcome to an episode of the 49ers Ultimate Report. This guy right here is John J. And welcome to our continuing week of nonstop NFC Championship week. On Monday, I had a good guest, my boy Jerry Yang, part of the Beast Rider podcast. I was also on his show on Tuesday, so shout out to those guys. I had LA Rams insider, good dude. He knows his stuff. And of course, I have a big day today. Two shows starting off here, and then a later show later in the afternoon. And then tomorrow, my preview show, and of course, a Saturday special show leading up to the game on Sunday. So we're continuing a great week. Let's bring in our guest. You guys know who he is. He needs no introduction. Let's bring in, you know who he is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Pleasure to be on with you, John J., 49ers Ultimate Report. I'm excited for this weekend's matchup, man, and thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's wonderful, especially the NFC Championship week. And I know we have a lot of good friends on the other side. Right now, they're the enemy, such as Payo Time, LA Rams Insider, and many other great Rams content creators. It's been a good week for them and us, so it's fun. I'm not sure if you're going to have any of those guys on your show, but it's always fun to talk to those guys. And they're really good dudes, so shout out to them as well. LA Rams 49ers is going to be a fun matchup. So it's been a while since you've been on the show. You know, you're a busy man. You got your own channel going on for you. Let the fans know who you are again. And I got a lot of new fans. Let them know who you are, what you do on your channel, and where they can find you.
Hey, absolutely, man. Once again, thanks for allowing me to get on your YouTube channel, your platform today with your great subscribers. Shout out to everyone in the comment section. But I go by the name of Jay in the Bay. You know, you see, I talk about the faithful, the Niner Empire. I just talk about the latest news on my channel, live streams, pre and post game live streams where we talk about the Niners, we talk about the game, talk about the opponent. And yeah, man, I've been doing it for about almost 2 years now. And I've known John J., 49er Ultimate Report, for quite a while through YouTube. And I appreciate him having me on. And I'm looking forward. The game can't come any faster, right? One more victory, we're in the Super Bowl, and I can't wait till kickoff.
Mm-hmm. I want to say hello to those in the chat. I'm going to start off with my boy, Kimbo. How you doing, man? He always says, let's go. Niner fans for life. Niners fans, shout out to Kimbo. Of course, we were just talking about him. Payo Time, the LA Rams YouTuber. How you doing, man? I cannot wait for our show tonight, man. He's going to be on here. So 2 shows today. Shout out to Payo Time. He says, hey. He also says, listening at work, man. Have a good day at work. Of course, I have to always shout this guy out. He's a Chicago Bear fan, a small content creator, podcaster. What's up, Jonath, man? Shout out to you, man. I got to reach out to you after the show, man, because I need to have Jonath on the show. He's a really good dude. He knows great Bears content, and I want to get his thoughts on what's been going on in the Chicago Bears world. So shout out to him. We have J.R. Meadow says, Revenge Tour, serve cold, serve donuts, Niners gang. Let's go. Shout out to J.R. Meadow with the great comments. Jay in the Bay, what's good? Yep.
Good.
All right. Let's start off your thoughts. So we all saw the 2021 season. So I want to get a quick summarize, a quick review in your thoughts, Jay in the Bay's thoughts on the 2021 season. So what are your thoughts on the 2021 49ers season?
It has been a roller coaster. You got to make sure you buckle up, hold on tight, because it's been a lot of ups and downs in this 49er season. We've been on a 4-game losing streak. We've had multiple injuries, but this has been probably one of the most favorite 49er seasons. We've gone through a lot, and it's really shown the toughness, the grit, the heart of this team to stick together. And credit to the coaching staff, including, of course, Kyle Shanahan, the head coach. He's really kept this team together. We've really kept fighting and believing in each other. Obviously, there's a lot of outside noise talking about number 10, of course, and what he can and what he can't do. But this has been, an incredible season. I'll be totally transparent with you. My faith of this team was definitely tested
Mhm.
throughout the regular season. Just going through the ups and downs of the season, losing streaks, winning streaks, injuries. But who would have thought? I never would have thought that this team would be in the NFC Championship game. I never would have thought that. Even, of course, I thought this team would be, I predicted about 12-5 regular season. We were a few games under that, but that goes to this team's grit, goes to this team's heart to continue to fight and really just execute the game plan, running the ball, defense, and those two things travel well in the playoffs. And I guess the saying is true. You don't want to play the 49ers in the playoffs because we will just out physical you. But hey, the season's still going. I'm happy and looking forward to this weekend, man.
Mhm. I want to say hello to my boy Reaper Cobra. What's up, man? He says Niner takeover. Let's go. I'm not the emoji guy, but I like looking at those cool emojis. I'll get them eventually. Of course, my boy David. Shout out to David all the way from Utah. This guy right here. He's been on my show talking after every game when the game ended on Sundays, even Thursday night, Monday night. Shout out to David, who's always on my show, man. Of course, it's Niners all day. Yep. Shout out to David. We hungry. We hungry. Yeah. So yeah, when it came to this season, I think it was a tale of two halves. First, there was the team called the no identity team. We didn't know who we were. Everybody was hurt. Nobody understood this team, and there was outside noises, of course, noises from other creators who were saying, "Let's put the rookie in. Let's forget this season. Let's just throw it away." Then, of course, the game that I do not want to talk about, but I have to talk about, is that the 49ers, when we lost to the Cardinals in that manner, I thought losing to the Miami Dolphins the year before was horrible, but this was a horrible loss under Kyle Shanahan because how we were not prepared. A team that was supposed to lose, they had no starters. Everybody, they had to resort to their number 4, number 5 receivers. They had to use their backup and number 3 running backs. Colt McCoy. It was a horrible game that turned around and opened up a fire to the 49ers. And then we saw this second half team. Great, great wins. Kyle becoming Kyle, using that brilliant brain of his to turn our wide receiver into a running back. That changed the way how we played. From that Rams game all the way to the final Rams game, we were 7-2. We should have beat the Seahawks. We should have been 8-1. And we beat two teams that were supposed to beat us. The Cowboys, Niners have no shot. Then the Packers, Niners have no shot. And you saw what the defense has done. And that's one thing why I love what this 2021 season, it's actually made 49ers fans really, really think if you are a Niner fan or not a Niner fan. And I'm a Niner fan. Win, lose, draw, I will support this team no matter what. But yes, I do. At one point at this season, I was like, if nothing's working, nothing's working for us, we have to do something different. And Kyle figured something out, and D'Amico Ryans became the best coach on that team, taking that situation on the defense, and he made that team look really, really good. Any more thoughts on the 2021 season, Jay?
Yeah, got to talk about D'Amico Ryans. I mean, first year coordinator, he's doing a hell of a job. He's getting some head coaching interviews. Selfishly, I want him to stick around with the 49ers next year. But if he gets offered a job, I think he would be foolish not to take it. But he's done an excellent job with this team. And we know D'Amico Ryans was a great player. He played for Philly. He played for Houston. He was a great in college. I believe an All-American linebacker in college. And my only concern about him was what type of adjustments would he make when the initial game plan didn't work? For instance, against Green Bay, their offense went right down the field the first drive of the playoff game last week, and then they didn't see the end zone, the rest of the game. So clearly those were great adjustments by D'Amico Ryans. And I believe this defensive line is playing at its best. I think that is the best unit on this 49ers defense. I think we're definitely better than where we were at the beginning of the year, especially at corner with Josh Norman. I think Ambry Thomas has played a lot better within the last 6 to 7 weeks. He's kind of solidified the other side of the defense, opposite of Emmanuel Mosley. And it's not just the Nicky Bosa show. We're getting a lot of contributions from other defensive linemen, Arden Key, Samson, Givens, Jordan Willis, Street, Armstead's having probably his best year as a 49er, DJ Jones. So I think that's the strength of this team. And you can't speak enough about the linebackers as well. And I believe this might be the fourth or fifth game where we'll have all three linebackers together. Of course, all pro Fred, Aziz, and Dre Greenlaw. So I think this defense has really come together. Made D'Amico Ryans look really good. And also D'Amico Ryans is a hell of a play caller and doing really good at adjustments. So, this is a hell of a season. One of the best 49er seasons I've been a fan of for sure. And I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Blue True. Shout out to Blue True with the great donation. Appreciate it. A few days ago, I had a show and I had so many donations. So anytime someone donates to my channel, it's an honor because someone likes the content. So shout out to Blue Truth. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate that, man. And I hope you enjoy the content. And if you're not subscribed, if you want to subscribe, feel free to subscribe. He says, congrats at Jay in the Bay and at 49ers Ultimate Report. Final Four, Niners awesome year. Good luck to all teams. Shout out to Blue Truth. Very, very generous. Appreciate that. Also, let's say hello to Niner Brian. First time I see you in my channel. Thank you. He says, Brian from Niners Radio, wish you the best. Shout out to Niner Brian, whoever you are. Appreciate you hopping on. And of course, Reaper Cobra says, we are the first team to win on the road, 12-game road warriors. Shout out to my boy Reaper Cobra for that. All right, let's move on. And let's talk a little bit about last week's game, the Green Bay Packers. I want to know your feeling about this game. Were you just like already giving up after what happened? What were your thoughts on this game? Because I have a lot to say.
Well, first, shout out to everyone in the comment section. Make sure you guys like the video, show your appreciation, and also make sure you subscribe to 49ers Ultimate Report if you haven't already. But man, that game, I mean, the Packers, they made it look easy that first drive. I was definitely a little nervous after that first drive because, there was little to no resistance. But for the rest of that game, it looked like the Packers were the visiting team, like, as far as them adjusting to the conditions of the game. Obviously, that wasn't an ideal offensive performance by the 49ers. But hey, the one unit that's been having issues all year, that's been kind of the worst unit of the team when you talk about offense, defense, and special teams. The special teams, they performed. They showed up real big with the block field goal by Jimmy Ward after he gave up the wheel route to Aaron Jones. Huge tackle by Jaquiski Tartt just to get him down. And then Jimmy Ward made a play on special teams. And that's what this team has kind of been lacking all year. It's just we haven't really had a great special team player. I know Talanoa Hufanga has been there. He's been pretty good, but I don't remember the last time this team blocked a field goal and blocked a punt, especially in the same game. So huge shout out to Jimmy Ward for blocking that field goal, and also Jordan Willis blocking that punt, and Talanoa Hufanga with the fumble recovery. So, man, special teams won that game for us, and also the defense kept us in the game. They didn't really give up much after, the initial first touchdown drive, but I have a feeling the 49ers offense is going to be much better in this game against the Rams. But, man, go up to Lambeau, frozen tundra, to beat the Packers. And, of course, we know Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it. And to basically shut him out and his offense out, I got to clap my hands to the 49ers defense, special teams, and D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah. This game, of course, the Packers went down the field. I knew I expected that it was going to be, a tough game for us. And that first drive really, started to see, can the defense adjust, and then we saw the offense. So let's first talk about what the defense did. And they made Aaron Rodgers look really silly. 5 sacks for 46 sack yards, so almost 10 yards a sack. It really shows you Eric Armstead has been stepping up late in the year, so he's finally been able to step up, show that he's worked that contract. Hopefully he can continue that consistency because I've always criticized him for that. Of course, Nick Bosa, he's coming off a concussion, coming back out there. Looks like he was good, did not show any rust, any issues, in his head. He played really well. Samson Ebukam had a good game. Arden Key had a good game. Basically, all the pass rushers were doing their job. DJ Jones neutralized the run game. and Fred Warner and Aziz Al-Shaair also assisted in the run game. Aaron Rodgers had to throw the ball a lot of short stuff, a lot of screen passes because he could not have time to set up, survey down the field. And our corners did a really good job on Devontae Adams. We held him to under 100 yards, which is a positive, keeping him under 100 yards. He didn't score a touchdown. So the defense did a really, really good job. And then let's talk about the special teams. Jimmy Ward, bad coverage, which led to that fantastic block. But if that did not really happen, it still would have been 7-0. But who would have thought Dante Johnson, who we've been criticizing, was, what are you doing? What are you doing, Jimmy Ward? So it's kind of funny how he's been playing better than Josh Norman, another fun fact. But then Jordan Willis got through the line, put his hand up there at the right moment, tapped that ball, and then Talanoa Hufanga picked it up, and then the momentum changed and the 49ers took over. Now let's talk about the offense. Oh, man. I like Jimmy, but every single game, he always pisses me off. I don't know why. I will say, yeah, with a broken finger and a bad shoulder, yeah, you give him a small pass, but he could not play the way he did against the Los Angeles Rams, because if he does that again, that's going to hurt us, which is going to basically be our Achilles heel. But against that, the team, it was a team effort, and we beat them, and they only scored 10 points on us. So it shows you how good this defense can be. Can they help us win the game? That's a 100% positive. But when it came to this game, oh, man, so many emotions. Any other thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the Jimmy G experience. I think he was like 11 of 19 for like 160 yards, and he threw the interception. That's just the Jimmy G experience. He did have some good throws earlier on in the game, but I think Kittle dropped one. I think one other receiver dropped another pass. So Jimmy, he's going to be up and down. He does play, solid against the Rams. He does have an undefeated record against them. And I think, the NFL game is all about matchups, and we just match up well against the Rams. We know what their weaknesses are. Shanahan knows how to exploit them. And I'm very confident about this game against the Rams on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Damian Lee. He says, it's beautiful in Texas. I remember when we were playing the Cowboys, he was giving those Cowboy fans a hard time. I'm wearing my Jerry Rice red jersey today. Shout out Damian Lee. And, of course, the best Niners all day is in the house. What's up, Niners all day? He says, pull Jimmy and put Trey Lance in the fourth quarter. Shout out to Niners all day. But I don't think they're going to do that, in my opinion. And see, Niner Brian says, wow, what about Dime? He was throwing in the first receiver couldn't catch him in the cold. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like George Kittle, there was one play where he was wide open. The corners, basically, he beat at them, blown coverage. And he had the ball right there. And I don't know if the ball, was, just hard to catch. Because I know when you play in the cold and you try to catch a football, it hurts more than playing in the warm climate. So I don't know if the players were having issues adjusting, like even Jimmy adjusting throwing that football. So I don't know why, the receivers, 4 drop passes, in the first 3 drives, 4 drop passes. That's unexplained. That's unforgivable, in my opinion. They should practice, find a way so they don't do that, because these are really big games. And we can give Jimmy a hard time, but Kittle, come on. There was no safety down the field. If you would have caught that would have been an automatic 7. And I know Kittle doesn't have the speed like Brandon Ayuk and Debo, but he's still, a fast guy for a guy hit. So
it seemed like with that first drop with Kittle, it looked like he took his eyes off of it. That's what it looked like. And when I notice when players drop the ball, especially when they don't reach out and catch the ball, if they let the ball come to them and it hits their shoulder pads, that's another reason why there are drops. But also, obviously those aren't ideal playing conditions. I think we should definitely see a much improved offensive performance, in Levi South. So looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, let's move on. What just happened? All right. Yeah, StreamYard sometimes a little bit glitchy. All right. Now let's talk about, all right, where are we? Oh, we go. All right. Oh, yeah, my StreamYard's a little bit flipping now. Let me see what's going on. All right. So let me get your thoughts on the Los Angeles Rams, because, that's the team that we're playing. This is the show. We're talking about Los Angeles Rams. But what are your thoughts about this Rams team? And is there anything that we should be concerned about this Rams team entering the game?
Well, the LA Rams, they're a good team. You know, they swung for the fences in trading for Matt Stafford. They brought in OBJ. They traded for Von Miller. So they are a talented team. I think they're a little top heavy. They got a lot of stars, but what's behind those stars? Can those stars really win a game for you? Of course, they got Cooper Kupp, who had a triple crown season. One of the best wide receiving seasons we've seen in recent memory. As far as concerns, I don't think there's any concerns with the Rams. Now, granted, they were up 17-0 in the last game we played against them, but they couldn't finish. And, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You got to play a full 4-quarter game. I think we'll slow down their running game. We've done that before. And I think they'll have trouble stopping our run. And I think, that's going to be one of the main factors in this game. Also, I think, we'll make their offense, of course, one-dimensional. And then I think the only way the Rams could win this game is if the Niners commit multiple turnovers and the Rams capitalize on that, or if Matt Stafford plays out of his mind and plays a complete 4-quarter clean game with no interceptions. Matt Stafford, he's thrown for 4 interceptions the last 2 times he's played the 49ers. I think he doesn't like getting pressured. And I think the 49ers will deliver that pressure. And that's the only way I can see the Rams winning this game. They win the turnover battle, and Stafford, plays clean football, no turnovers, 3 or 4 touchdown passes, over 300 yards passing. That's the only way I really see the Rams winning this game. But I don't think Stafford will have a complete game like that. And I think the Niners should win this game, not with ease. It'll still be hard. It won't be a walk in the park, so to speak. But, we know each other really well. And Shanahan knows the Rams well. He knows how to exploit their weaknesses. And having Shanahan on our side is a huge advantage in this game.
I want to say hello first to my boy TRL, part of that NFL community. He is not a Rams. He does not like, he's a Cardinals fan. He's still angry about their performance, but he's a cool Cardinals fan. I like this Cardinals fan. Shout out to TRL, part of that NFL hangout community. David says, I think we should go hurry up offense because Jimmy does better when he has no time to think. That's true. I think that's 100% true, and would wear down the Rams defense. Also, I think this is someone from your channel, Livy's World. She said, "Yeah, what's good? Go Jimmy, go. Let's get it." Shout out to Livy's World. Appreciate that. All right, let's continue on the comments. J.R. Mel says that's beyond Cole. All right. Niner Brian says too many chefs in the kitchen and not enough team. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, King Game in the house? What's up, man? Niner Brian says chemistry, and he says let's go Niners. And then J.R. Mel said your mind thinking different in the -7 is no fun time. Yep.
Yeah. Couldn't imagine.
Yeah, playing the cold is not fun. So yeah, like when it comes to Los Angeles Rams, basically, of course, we all know a lot of Rams, content creators, but I also know other Rams content creators who are not pay time, those guys, but they have said to me that we are basically playing everything, all the marbles, all the chips, it's like going to Vegas, and we're trying to win right now. Basically, they want to win a title this year, and they want to win a title next year, because I found out Odell Beckham's contract, expires next year. How much money does Odell Beckham want? Can they afford him? Von Miller, Rams insider yesterday told me he's getting older. So there's a lot of players that are getting older. Aaron Donald is entering his 30s now. So it's win-win now. They're trying to win-win now, and they're hoping that they beat us and win the Super Bowl, and then they want to do that next year. But how I said, in my opinion, is that there's a reason why you have the right talents. The Niners have a future. If we win the Super Bowl this year, which is going to be fun, we are building for the next 10 to 15 years after this. Just imagine that, this is like a early rebuild, and we have the talent on our team. The Rams are doing it the opposite. They want to win now. They want to win now, and they want to win now. So overall, when it comes to this LA Rams team, they're dangerous. Matthew Stafford, he's always been a good quarterback. He's been with the Lions. One thing about Matthew Stafford that he's always done in his career, throws a lot of interceptions. So that's a big, question mark. Will he throw interceptions? The Rams had 4 turnovers. If they do 4 turnovers, we're not going to do what the Buccaneers did. We're going to control the tempo, run the football, and put points on the board. And on the defense side of the ball, they do have Ramsey, they do have Darnold, they do have Von Miller, and also there are other stars there. So it's going to be a very tough grudge match when it comes to this Saturday's game. But when I look at the Rams as a whole, they are a team that can trap us in this game. We have the momentum. No one's picking them. They could beat us. And this is one thing about this Rams team. We've beat them 6 times in a row. They could, end the streak and beat us in the most important game of the season. So that's my thoughts on the Rams. Any more thoughts on the Rams?
Yeah, I agree. They're definitely a dangerous team, but I think all the pressure is on the LA Rams. They are favored in this game. They are at home. And I think the pressure is all on them. Like you said, they're swinging for the fences. They don't value first round draft picks. They've traded a lot of those first round draft picks to win now. And if they don't beat us, it's definitely a disappointment for the Rams season. That's for sure. And I feel like, I wouldn't say we're lucky to be here or we're happy to be here, but no one really thought we would be in this position, me included. So to have to play the Rams again, an opponent we know pretty well, and it's one more victory to get to the Super Bowl, I think, what more could we ask for at this point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Niners all day says, are we bandwagon fans? I'm not a bandwagon fan. I've been a fan since I was 5 years old, so I'm not a bandwagon fan. There are 49er fans who are bandwagons. It's my boy Rudy is in the house. The Ramelia Sports Report, great stream. 49ers Ultimate Report, props at Jay in the Bay. Good guy. He's a good. Yeah, he's going to be. Hey, another spoiler alert. He's going to be on my show tomorrow. Nice. Shout out to Ramelia, and he says Rams are set up for the next 3 to 4 years. The core stars are signed, and Rams general manager Les Snead is the best general manager in football when it comes to getting free agents. Yes, Rudy, you and I will talk about that more tomorrow. But as I mentioned, I know so many Rams content creators, not just like Rudy and Payo and many others, but there are others who actually cover the team, who are from the area, who talk to me, and that's their opinion. But you also have another guy who knows his team, so shout out to him as well. All right, let's pose a question for everyone in the chat and you as well. This streak. So first, the first part, Niners versus the Rams in the last 6 matchups, we're 6-0. Of course, there's a notion that the third time the losing team wins that third game. We saw it last year against the Buccaneers versus the Saints, but Tampa Bay played really horrible, but also the Saints on offense played really horrible. I don't really think that the Niners are going to have that Saints versus Tampa Bay situation, but I just wanted to ask a question. Are you worried about this notion that this third game is a curse for the team that wins the game? So I want to get your thoughts on that.
I wouldn't say it's a curse, but it's difficult to beat a team 3 times in what, 2.5 months. I think that's pretty difficult. But if you ask me just as being neutral, who would I rather be, the Niners or the Rams? I would definitely rather be the Niners. I just think we have an advantage. In football, a lot of times is about matchups. And you mentioned the Saints and Buccaneers. One thing that the Saints do well on defense is they're able to get after the quarterback. Tom Brady, he's not mobile. He's a stick figure back there. And if he gets uncomfortable, he's going to start doing things that he normally wouldn't do if he's comfortable. So, and that's the main thing why the Saints match up really well against the Bucs. They can really get after the quarterback. Shanahan knows McVay's offense. He knows what he wants to do to attack him. And it just seems like Shanahan's always a step ahead of the Rams. So, yeah, I would definitely rather be the 49ers in this situation. All the pressure is on the Rams. They're the ones who traded multiple draft picks. They're the ones who pulled off the trade for quarterback Matt Stafford. He's supposed to, bring them a Super Bowl. So the pressure is on them. But there's no doubt I'd rather be the Niners. I think overall we're a better team. And not just talking about our starters. I'm talking about the guys who spell our starters. I think we're just an overall better team. And we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 2 weeks ago, I was having this conversation, like, people like TRL and that NFL community, those guys are really good. Joneth, who was one of the first in the comments, we were talking about in the recent years, it's actually been a more favorable matchup. But before, so I did my own homework, and apparently that this has happened, I think 21 times, in the history of a team playing another team 3 times in the same season. And apparently, I was wrong. I thought, that it was more of, if on the third game, if you lose both of them, you're going to win. But apparently, those information was not, truthful. So when I found out, just like David just put here something very interesting. 14-7 in the third matchup. So the Niners have a 75% overall when you look at what history says. So thank you very much and so that's what I'm saying. So I am not worried anymore that, that we're going to lose the third game, because the way we've been playing and the way the Rams have played, they play the Cardinals. It was a blowout, 31-11. It was a blowout. So it wasn't really a fair matchup. At the same time, the way they played against the Buccaneers came back. It was I think it was like a 27-3. They almost blew that lead. They blew a 24-point lead to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Niners are not going to do that. We are not. Bruce Arians' offense is an air raid. For those who don't know, it's a deep offense. You stretch the field, and that's why there's more interceptions on an air raid offense. One thing that I've noticed is that while McVay copies our system, he's also been doing an air raid offense with Matthew Stafford. That's why he has a high percentage of interceptions. So that's why we don't ask Jimmy to throw the ball deep. That's why we have the system that we have. Run the football, a lot of jet sweeps, screen passes, shorts in the middle to George Kittle and our wide receivers, and they use their legs to get the yards after the catch. And that's how we're going to win the game if the Rams cost turnovers. So that's going to be one thing that the Rams cannot do. So when I look at this question, I do believe that if we go down the field, put the tempo, score the points, it's going to be a good matchup. But if we're trailing, Kyle in the last several games has been adjusting, and we were losing. There was 5 minutes left in that game. It was, I think it was a 10-3, and man, the Niners fans were just like this close. They all know the season's over, and the special team stepped up. So I am not going to count out this team when it comes to the 49ers. They have showed that when they were at the worst times, now we're at the top of the NFL, and we are one of the last 4 teams out of 32 other teams that are in the position to be in the Super Bowl. So that's my thoughts on this question. Any more thoughts on this question before we move on?
Yeah. Like in 2019, the Super Bowl season, we blew a lot of teams out in the regular season. And this season is a completely different season with different players at certain positions. But this 49ers team is tough. And like you said, we were down. Like when we were down against the Rams last time, 17-0, but we still continue to believe in ourselves. We still continue to fight. And that goes to the leadership of this team. When the Packers scored on their first drive last week, 7-0, Fred Warner gathered the defense and said, hey, this is not who we are. Get your ish together. And it was a totally different defense from there on out. So leadership is very, very paramount. What's good to Luke Luna, man? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. But, man, yeah, this is a totally different 49ers team in confidence and leadership. And I think we'll see that on Sunday against the Rams. And it doesn't matter if the Rams have a lead on us. I still think that Shanahan will stick to the script because we know what the game plan is versus the Rams. It's just to run the hell out of the ball and win the time of possession and force a few turnovers on Stafford. He's known to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now we're going to go get a few questions in for Jay and the Bay. If you have questions for Jay and the Bay or just questions for both of us, leave that in the chat. So we're going to start off with this question. So this is old news. It's already been sorted out, was this ticket situation. And I know 49ers now are able to buy tickets, but I think Niners fans already bought tickets already. But I just wanted to get your thoughts when you heard this. Did you think this was like just, like nonsense? Do you think there was just like a little like social media joke? But it was real. So what were your thoughts when you heard that?
I think it goes Well, my first thought was it was soft, like for the Rams or for Ticketmaster or whoever was responsible to do that in favor of the Rams. I think it's soft, and it just goes to, like, I think the Niners have a mental edge over the Rams. Like, I've never heard of a team saying we're not going to sell fans tickets to a certain area because we're scared that they're going to invade the stadium. I've never heard of that before, and I like what Niners all day. It's cowardly move. But it doesn't matter because 49er fans are all over the world. They're in Northern California. They're in Southern California. They're in every state in the country. So I think that will come back to bite the Rams on Sunday. And I believe the game, the Week 18 game, I think it was like 65-35 in favor of the 49ers. So I would imagine it would be around that same percentage of fans in the stadium. But yeah, it's just... It just goes to show you that the Rams are already scared. That's pretty much what it goes to show you.
Like when I heard this, I was like, this is a joke. So I didn't really care about it. I think I was probably the only 49er fan who did not care about it. But then I was curious. So I go to, Ticketmaster, all that stuff. It's not on their website. I go to the Los Angeles website and they have, just like our website, we have, marketing, all that stuff, and then there was a message that was left in the Rams page. And I was like, what are they doing? So I started laughing humorous. Now I said, what about the 49er fans who live in Los Angeles? Because I've never been to LA. I've drone by it. I've drone by the city, once in my life, but I've never, lived there or spent, a day there. I basically just passed through it a couple hours when I was, traveling across the state when I was younger. But Los Angeles is huge, huge. It's a giant. Like, people talk about the Bay Area. The Bay Area is huge. People think, who don't live here or don't know the Bay, they think it's just San Francisco. No, it's huge, the Bay Area. So, of course, San Francisco, you cross the bridge, you go to Oakland, in the South Bay, San Jose, these big cities, but there are a lot of little cities spread out in those big cities. So that's the fun thing about the Bay Area and also Los Angeles. So people were like, I was just like scratching my head, and I was like, why would they do this? Why would they do this? Which didn't make any sense to me. So what they did was, I think, a horrible mistake on their marketing the department. So if I'm the owner, like, really, now we're not gonna have no Rams there. 60,000 or 80, whatever, how many thousands of seats it's gonna be all 49ers. So they made a fun thing for us to talk about, and it gave us something to talk about and laugh. I think it was more humorous than anything else. But that's what I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely backfire on them, I think.
David says the most gutless move I've ever seen. And then Luke Luna says all the pressures on the Los Angeles Rams, from winning the division, restricting ticket sales, wives worried, all the splash signings, the narrative of us owning them. They are home with our fans. They're favorites. Yeah. And it's so funny how, the Rams have a lot of pressure on them that the media is not talking about, is that they basically move away from Goff. And Goff was a quality quarterback, not a top 10 quarterback, but he was a quality quarterback. It's just that because they paid him so much money, they had to trade that contract away and they had to give picks away to get Matthew Stafford. Overall, they should have kept Goff because he's still young. Matthew Stafford, I think, is 33, 34. I don't know how old he is, but he's at an age where he doesn't have a lot of years left. So, they did that. So they're all in. They're playing, their running back who had an Achilles. That's a 1-year injury. So I don't know how he's playing, but that's another issue that they have to worry about. Of course, Odell Beckham, So they put so much money. Of course, they got Von Miller the year before. A couple of years before, they brought in Jalen Ramsey. So they're doing everything they can to win right now. And if they don't win, this is going to be the funny thing about it. If they don't win and we make it to the Super Bowl, the third team in the division who was supposed to be eliminated against the Cowboys is in the Super Bowl. That would be so funny if you look at the way I'm thinking about it. So that's a fun thing to talk about. But yeah, 100% true. 100% true. David says Luke Luna, what's up, buddy? Facts. We weren't supposed to go this far. Yep. All right. Ask your questions. Ask your questions. If you have a question for Jay or a question for me or just a question in general that you want to ask, um, let's see. Let's start off with this question for this segment. I want to get your thoughts on it. Um, when you look at the 49ers offensive line, we're getting Trent Williams back. We saw him, get hurt. But the good thing about it, an MRI, they checked, X-ray, no serious bone damage. Um, is that going to be tough for the defensive players to go against him because he's a really good left tackle? Do you think that defensive line is going to have a lot of pressure having him there? Because on the first game, I mean, on week 18, he wasn't there. So do you think Trent Williams will have a huge impact on for our offense?
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the big silver back. One of the best seasons a left tackle has ever had. Trent Williams, all pro. And what a steal we got for Trent Williams from the Washington football team. I think it was a third and a fifth round pick, but hell of a move by Shanahan and Lynch to bring Trent Williams over. And he is the linchpin of this offensive line. No doubt the best offensive lineman in the NFL and obviously on our offensive line. And you mentioned he did not play week 18 and we were still able to pull off a victory. But yeah, having Trent Williams back definitely, it solidifies the left side of that offensive line. It protects Jimmy G's blind side. And when he's there, this offensive line is definitely more physical. I mean, I know you saw that play where Trent Williams went in motion and he blew up Rashawn Gary, the Packers defensive end. Like, that's the type of things. That's how athletic Trent Williams is. That's how great he is. You don't see offensive linemen go in motion like a skill position player and then just blow up Rashawn Gary. So, this Rams defensive line is definitely talented. But with Trent Williams there, I think, we'll definitely put our best foot forward. Now, on the right side of that offensive line, Tom Compton, I think he's filled in well for the most part for Mike McGlinchey. He struggled a little bit last week against Rashawn Gary. Now he'll have to go up against, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, and I'm sure sometimes Aaron Donald. So that would be the side of the offensive line I'd be most concerned about is, Brunskill and Compton. But for the most part, they played pretty well, this season. But they're definitely going to get a huge test going up against this high-powered Rams defensive line.
Yep. All right, let's move on to this question, which is going to basically be the final question to talk about. But, the keys to victory. So I know we do not play until Sunday, but in your mind, watching the 49ers, what they do best, what are some keys to victory that for the 49ers, if they do it all, we will have another day in Super Bowl at the Los Angeles Rams Stadium on February 13th. What are the keys that the 49ers have to do to get the victory?
I think the number one key is got to be play disciplined football. Try to limit our penalties, obviously on both sides of the ball, and obviously limit our turnovers. Jimmy has thrown, basically an interception in every game. I don't remember the last time he didn't throw an interception in the game. Unfortunately, that's part of the Jimmy G experience. But this team has improved greatly in the defensive pass interference penalties. I mean, at one point in time during the regular season, we led the league in those penalties, thanks in part to, Josh Norman was starting opposite of Emmanuel Mosley. But play disciplined football. Don't penalize yourself. Don't beat yourself. And, don't turn the ball over on offense. I think that's one major key for me. Would you like a few more or do you want to go back and forth?
You say as many as you want.
Okay, so play disciplined football. The obvious, you got to run the ball. I think if we run the ball at least 35 times, I think that will, seal the victory for the 49ers. We know Mitchell's going to get at least 20 to 25 carries. Debo's going to add his 10 carries. I would love to see Jeff Wilson Jr. get in, but it seems like Shanahan wants to ride the hot hand, and he doesn't want to put Jeff Wilson Jr. in. I know Jeff Wilson Jr. got injured last week. He had an ankle injury on special teams. I don't think he was on the injury report this week. I have to double check. But it would be nice if we could see more of Jeff Wilson Jr. But obviously, you got to establish the running game. I think third down efficiency is key. We have to make stops on third down. We cannot allow the Rams to have, long drives going down the field. Not only will it tire out the 49ers defense, but then the 49ers offense has less time to operate. And on the other side of the ball, we have to be able to convert third downs. We have to be able to continue long drives, win the time of possession, keep punching the Rams in their mouth with the running game. And I think those are one of the three most important keys, I feel. And I'll leave it at that. But if you want more, come back to me. I'll let you go.
Okay, first, let's go to Niners all day. I want to be so glad that this guy found my channel. It's going to be so fun to say this. Shout out to Niners all day, whoever created this thing. He says, yeah, we talked about Trent Williams. He will be ready for Sunday. As I mentioned, they did an MRI, I don't know if it was a Sunday or Monday, but they did an MRI. No major damage, meaning that there was no significant damage, probably just a little sprain. It's like when you get hurt, a little, it hurts for like 5 seconds and then you're okay the next moment. But like I said, these players playing this many games this time of the year, they are all hurt. They're all hurt, but they're muscling through. With Deebo Samuel, I think he said on a tweet, or he said to a reporter that he's okay. Just got the wind knocked out of him, because there was one play where he got hit way below the stomach line. So if he got hit in the stomach, if you've ever been hit in the stomach, that air, you're like, you cannot breathe. It feels like the wind's knocked out of you. So maybe that's what really happened to him. Also, at the end, just before the field goal, he was limping off a little bit. But I just think the wind just got knocked out of him, in my opinion. Luke Luna says, yep, we're playing with house money since week 8. We have the best record in the NFC. And, of course, Blaze is in the house. How you doing, man? He says, let's go. Let's go. So these are my keys to victory. I always start off on the defensive side because there's a lot to talk on the defense versus the offense. So Nick Bosa is going to be the important factor for that defensive line to work. If Nick Bosa gets the double teams, gets the holdings, it opens up for the rest of the interior line, such as DJ Jones. Also, our pass rush. Basically, Ebukam has stepped up at late in this season. He finally stepped up. He's becoming this guy that we got in free agency. Arden Key, the same thing. In the last 9 games of the season, 6.5 sacks. Just imagine if he was more healthier, because he was playing, inconsistency, a little bit hurt early in the year. 6.5 sacks to end the season. Eric Armstead finished the season with 6.5 sacks. They all got better in the playoffs. They're all getting after the quarterback. So Nick Bosa really, really dictates how the line plays. Our linebackers, Greenlaw, Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair. This is now going to be the 5th game this is going to be, so week 18, this is going to be the 4th game in a row. These guys have played together for 4 games in a row. And how it is shown how the linebacking core, that's why D'Amico Ryans, look what he did before he was a defensive coordinator. That's why the Vikings and the Raiders are trying to steal him from us. That's not going to be fun if he leaves. I'll be worried about that. And of course, who would have thought that Emmanuel Mosley, Diamador Lenore, and Ambry Thomas are our boundary corners, and K'Wan Williams? We have depth now at the corner. So I am so glad that the defense, when it comes to the keys to victory, you see the players that I've named on the defense. We are stacked on defense. And, of course, offense. Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, and, of course, I know fans who do not like Jimmy Garoppolo, but if he gets the run game going, he plays really good. Well, when the run game isn't going really well, you see how Jimmy has issues. So if the run game does really well, Jimmy's going to play well. And I'm going to call it. If the run game is well, Jimmy's going to have a good game. I'm calling it right now, because the run game really makes Jimmy play really, really well. One game, for example, was the game against the Cincinnati Bengals, how the run game was so perfect, and Jimmy had a perfect game. So those are my keys to the victories. Do you have any other keys to victories?
Yeah, and I would add that when the running game works well, is consistent, and we're able to gain at least 4 yards a carry, that helps with Jimmy's play action passing, because then the defenders move up. They're concerned about the run. Jimmy fakes that ball. Jimmy, he looks to the right, he looks to the left, and then he's able to find open receivers. Usually, whenever there's play action, there's at least one receiver who's wide open, and it's up to Jimmy to throw an accurate ball. Mm-hmm. And part of the Jimmy G experience, sometimes he looks good, he's accurate with the ball, and other times I know he throws an interception, but that's going to be key too. I think Jimmy's going to have to, if he throws the ball at least between 15 to 20 times, he's accurate with the ball, and hopefully he can play a clean 4 quarters. We've kind of yet to see that. Mm-hmm. But he's going to have to play, I think, a pretty good game against the Rams. Even if we're able to run the ball 35 times, I still think Jimmy's going to have to make good decisions when he's in the pocket.
Yeah. Luke Luna says Jimmy Playoffalo. That's clever. That's a clever name. And The Last Dance. It's a vibe. I've been saying that there's something special going on here. They are fighting and playing for each other one last time. These guys love Jimmy. Of course, I have to say this like hundreds of times. That locker room at Santa Clara, they like Jimmy Garoppolo. I was watching the pregame show, and Jimmy Garoppolo was a little bit tearful when he was asked the question. Jimmy says, I take one game at a time. I don't worry about next year. Whatever happens next year. One thing that he said that really, really is showing the future of this team, he says, the relationships that I've built is not going to be easy for me to let go. And that was a quote from him. So why would a guy who, everyone says in the media does not like, why would a guy defend his team like that, knowing that this could be his final year? But overall, that's true. I've been in the locker room before. I've been in the high school locker room. I've also been in the locker room with grown adult men playing baseball. There's a different feeling when you're in the locker room. While all the outside people can say whatever they want, there's a real relationship, and that's the reason why. This is something true. Jimmy is still friends with Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady kicked him out there. He's still friends with Edelman and those guys from the Patriots. He's still going to be friends with the 49ers if he leaves. Now, he has 1 year left on this contract. I would not be surprised. I know many fans want to get rid of him, to give Trey Lance, a chance to develop. But anyone like me who says that stuff is called delusional. But I have to say that just to say that. And why would George Kittle and everyone always defend him every time he has a bad game? It shows you that's something to talk about. But I will stop right there because I don't want to go on a 20-minute conversation about that. We had that conversation earlier before the season started. So we have a question. He says, Jay and John Jay, do you think Jimmy G has a clean game, and how many yards do you think he will have? So I'll put this question to you first.
Absolutely. And just to go back to your point about Jimmy G in the locker room, I think this team has great chemistry. It has leadership. Everyone thinks or I should say they speak very highly of Jimmy G. And some people might say, well, what are they supposed to say? But their teammates, Jimmy G, he's a tough guy. And how could you not at least respect someone for being tough, for someone who's willing to go out there when they're hurt and still lay it all out on the line? We've seen Jimmy G in multiple times throughout the year, stand in the pocket, throw the ball, wait in the pocket, knowing he's going to get hit and gets hit, but he still gets back up. So as a teammate, how can you not, respect Jimmy G? We know he's not an elite player. He's not terrible. But hey, this team respects him. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And Shanahan believes in him to a certain extent. As far as Jimmy G playing the clean game, I don't see it happening. I think he throws at least one interception. But the last few games, they haven't really hurt us. And I would say for amount of yards, I think he'll throw for about 225 yards.
Mm-hmm. I want to read this from Luke. I think Jimmy had an awesome game considering that he was throwing a frozen ball in the snow in freezing temperatures. Yeah, I wanted to read that. All right. So this is what I want to see from Jimmy Garoppolo. Basically, of course, Shanahan is going to script up 45 run plays and 25 pass plays because that's how he scripts it. One thing that I do not like about Kyle is why he scripts plays. I think he should basically have plays ready, use them for situations. But Kyle, like he's very particular in his brain, so I give him a pass for that. I think it does hinder the quarterbacks a little bit, but as long as Jimmy throws the ball 25 times and a lot of it to the slot, lot to the slot, receivers, a lot to the short stuff, the George Kittle. We need to use Kyle Juszczyk. One thing that I've been criticizing, why is Kyle Juszczyk not helping out in the pass game? But we need to use all our playmakers, even fullbacks, to get the short stuff because Brandon Ayuk, when he catches the ball, you can see the speed. That's why we drafted him as high as we did. Why we traded up in the second round to move up to get Debo in the second round because of his speed, and why we drafted George Kittle late in the draft in 2017 because of his blocking skills, and of course why we paid so much for Kyle Juszczyk because these players are one position, but they can do a lot of things. So if we could use the playmakers, he could have a clean game. I'm expecting him to play the way he did in Week 10 against the Rams. That's what I want to see from him. If he can do that, That's a great game for him. I want to see him to do that. But what I've seen, he still has a broken finger and a bad shoulder. So I am not going to be surprised if he throws an interception because, he's playing with injuries. And one thing that I do not like Kyle is like Kyle knows his quarterback is hurt, but he puts him out there. I don't blame Jimmy Garoppolo. I blame Kyle for putting too much faith in this guy. And this is one of the things I said. You're putting faith in an injured quarterback. How does Kyle not like Jimmy Garoppolo if you're putting your injured quarterback in there? He's doing it because he likes him, or maybe Kyle is a little bit, off the rail sometimes. But Kyle is that coach, like he's a good guy, but sometimes he drives you nuts sometimes. So I wanted to say that.
I think Kyle just trusts Jimmy. I mean, the whole reason Trey Lance is here because, Jimmy couldn't stay available due to his health and also his inaccurate play. But I still feel that, hey, Jimmy's played at least 50 games in a 49er uniform, and Shanahan is comfortable with him, and he knows what he's going to bring to the table. And I think that's why he sticks with Jimmy G.
All right. I think that is it for today's show. Appreciate Jay intheBay for hopping on, man. I like your content. I apologize that I can never always hop on because I'm working and I'm also being on my channel. I'm a very busy dude, but I always watch your stuff on the replay when I have time for, and you got really good content. But before we go, let everybody know one last time who they are, where they can find you, if you have any social media, so you can let the fans know where they can find you. So this is your time. Let the fans know who you are one last time.
Absolutely. 49er Ultimate Report, John Jay, appreciate you for letting me get on your platform today, man. Continue to do big things with your channel. Keep informing the 49er fans. And if you guys are interested in my content, I would appreciate it. I'm on social media. I got Facebook, IG, Twitter, YouTube, all under Jay intheBay, the name you see on the ticker. And having a blast. Thanks for having me on. And man, I can't wait for this game to kick off on Sunday. One victory and we in the Super Bowl. Who would have thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Before I go, I always want to thank those who help the channel. Blue True, $5 super chat. Anyone who donates to this channel, I also have channel memberships. If you want to be part of a hangout, I'm going to make an announcement on that. Only members can only hang out to talk football and stuff in a good, safe area. There'll be no one in the comments. It's just the people in the memberships. I have memberships. Members are going to start getting a lot of perks on this channel very, very soon. So shout out to Blue Tree with all the little donations on the show. So I really appreciate that. Luke Luna has another. I do think Jimmy may have an interception because I think Jimmy has to throw the football out of necessity and will need Jimmy to do and may throw an interception. I think Stafford throws interceptions. Yeah, he throws a lot of interceptions. Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody. This guy right here is John Jay. The guy over here, Jay intheBay, he has a YouTube channel. He does 49er content just like me, but he does it better. He does it better. I'm joking. Yeah. Anyway, but with that said, everybody, I'm John Jay, and this is the 49ers Ultimate Report. You guys have a good rest of your afternoon and everywhere in between. And go Niners. Let's go to the Super Bowl.
Take it easy.
Yeah.